Now at 9, the city manager of Fort Scott announces his resignation from the position. Plus, how some businesses in Caney, Kansas are dealing with the ongoing water shortage there. And the Kansas Department of Conservation discusses why turkey hunting season was canceled this year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Tanya Bach. A former prosecutor in Northeast Oklahoma is going to prison for seeking sexual favors in exchange for help with court cases. The defendant in this case is former Ottawa County, Oklahoma Assistant District Attorney Daniel Giraldi of Joplin. He had pleaded guilty last year after providing drugs and legal actions that benefited defendants in exchange for sex. A judge today sentenced Giraldi to 2.5 years in prison and 3 years supervised probation after he is released. Under terms of his plea agreement, Giraldi will relinquish his Oklahoma bar license and agree to never hold any public office in the state. U.S. Attorney Clint Johnson says, quote, as a public servant to the people of Ottawa County, Daniel Giraldi disgraced the office of Assistant District Attorney. He had a duty to act with integrity and competence. Instead, he violated the law and the trust placed in him by the district attorney, end quote. Results are in after the Allen County, Kansas Sheriff's Office performed a random compliance check of the registered sex offenders living there. The check, conducted last week, finds there are 114 offenders living in Allen County, with 28 more who work there but do not live in the county. During the check, authorities found 26 offenders not in compliance, and they say most were simple things like keeping updated addresses, places of employment, and phone numbers. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Eddy joins us with a first look at your forecast.
Well, it turned out to be another mild one for us today. Temperatures upper 70s for afternoon high. 78 started at 67, so not a huge variance there. In fact, our low this morning was our average high, which is 67 degrees. Looking outside, looks pretty good in Joplin, looks pretty good in Pittsburgh. We're still sitting into lower 70s, but we have a band of showers which are starting to press into the region, mainly northeastern Oklahoma, but from Independence, Bartlesville down toward Tulsa. So we are going to get some showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder or two as these press in over the next several hours. So showers picking up. We'll drop back into about the mid 60s a little bit later on tonight. So we do have more rain chances. A rainy start tomorrow. Rain sticks around for the weekend. Much colder temperatures work in. We're going to be looking at our first freeze. We're going to talk about it all here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. A parvo outbreak leads to a quarantine for the SEK Humane Society. The organization received a large increase of sick and abandoned dogs from the southeast Kansas area in the past few weeks, including one dog now fighting for her life. The shelter has decided to quarantine its facility from October 23rd through November 6th. During this time period, the shelter will not be adopting out from its facility nor intaking, as it concentrates on getting sick canines treated and monitoring our shelter's health. Well, the Fort Scott city manager is resigning from his position. Brad Matkin posted this video on Facebook this morning announcing his resignation. He says he'll continue the duties of his role in addition to helping in the transition of finding a new city manager through the end of the year. He did not give details for his decision, but said it was for personal reasons. His resignation will go into effect January 3rd. The community of Caney, Kansas is trying new strategies as it battles the ongoing water shortage there. Even businesses in Caney are making adjustments to conserve water. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Although the day was wet and gloomy, it still wasn't enough for Caney. Pizza Hut is conserving water by using paper plates and utensils, but Sonic workers now mop instead of using the industrial cleaning hose. The manager is worried that if the cuts get worse, some businesses could close and people could eventually lose their jobs.
So if we do end up having to close and people have to pursue other employment, they're either going to have to commute or move. And that's obviously not good for the area, for the county, for anybody.
Originally, the mayor, Josh Elliott, ordered all public restrooms to shut down in Caney. However, due to feedback, Mayor Elliott modified the mandate for restrooms to remain open for paying customers only.
Missouri American Water hosted a safety fair today at Downstream Casino and Resort. The event was open to the area construction and utility workers, industry leaders, civic leaders, and community stakeholders. The event provided opportunities to explore the latest tools and equipment designed to make the construction and utility industries safer. Spokesperson with Missouri American Water said the event was to provide an education.
This is important to educate our workers on the new technology, the new different things on safety, and the hazards that they could see, that they do see, and how to deal with them.
And one of the goals for Missouri American Water is to make sure its employees return home safely. Hunters in Kansas are unable to bag turkeys this fall due to declining populations. Regulations have also become more strict for the 2024 spring turkey season. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
We're hoping that we get some better nesting conditions, and those populations will bounce back, so we can go back to bird limit in fall turkey season.
For hunters in Kansas hoping to bring home the bacon, that is turkey bacon, this fall, it was a no-go. According to land manager David Jenkins, the population of turkeys in the state have declined over 15 years. And for hens looking to nest, the conditions are less than favorable.
In the very southeast corner, we get oftentimes well over 40 inches of rain. And so during those nesting periods in late May and June, a lot of times those little poults just don't survive the rainfall.
Along with the suspension of the fall season, spring 2024 turkey season comes with changes as well. For residents, the bag limit has been reduced down to only one bird. For non-residents wanting to hunt, they will have to enter a lottery draw.
I think the public's in favor of it. Our hunters, just knowing the local hunting community, a lot of the guys that are traditional turkey hunters have not bought a tag last few years just because they realize that turkey numbers are low.
Reporting in Crawford County, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
For non-resident hunters looking to apply for spring turkey draw, the application period will be from early January to February 9th. The Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks also said it does not know when it will have another fall turkey season. Later in the show, we'll learn how chronic wasting disease is impacting deer hunting in Missouri. Well, coming up, a new RSV vaccine for infants is in short supply, what the CDC is now telling doctors. Just a few minutes of physical activity a day may offset the risk of death caused by hours of sitting. Research published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found 20 to 25 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise reverses the risk created when sitting for 10.5 hours or more a day. An extra 10 minutes of activity reduced the risk of death by an additional 35%. The CDC is sounding the alarm over a shortage of a new shot to help protect infants from RSV. The drug was approved by the FDA in July and recommended by the CDC for babies born right before or during RSV season. As Ted Linder reports, due to the shortage, the CDC is issuing new recommendations about which kids should get the shots first.
A new shot to protect infants from the potentially deadly respiratory virus known as RSV is in short supply. It comes as the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that RSV cases are rising across the country, especially in the Southeast.
It's very hard to keep a toddler, away from touching and exploring their environment. So that's why it's just so contagious.
It's prompted the CDC to issue a health alert, urging doctors to now prioritize the vaccine for babies most at risk of severe illness, which includes infants less than 6 months old and babies with chronic lung disease or other underlying health conditions. The one-time shot called Beyfortus is made by the pharmaceutical company Sanofi, which says the drug shortage is due to higher than expected demand, adding it's working to increase production.
Once you're in the hospital with RSV, you tend to be there for days needing oxygen until you start to get better.
Every year, RSV hospitalizes between 58 to 80,000 kids younger than 5, according to the CDC. It can cause cold-like symptoms including runny nose, coughing, and sneezing, as well as fever and difficulty breathing, which is especially dangerous for infants.
Because an adult's airway may be this big, and a child's airway is about that big, the same amount of swelling causes more obstruction of that pipe, and therefore being smaller increases your risk that you're going to plug that pipe.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Well, child care centers are not super spreader locations for COVID-19. That's according to a study from the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. Researchers found children and caregivers transmitting infection at a rate of just 2 to 3%, suggesting stay-at-home policies be revised to match other respiratory viruses. They also found just 17% of household infections came from a child who caught COVID at daycare. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later a look at when Southeast Kansas high schools will begin the playoffs.
Well, it turned out to be another gloomy day for us today. Some scattered showers during the morning hours, but mild, also windy, and that's what we're seeing outside right now. Look at our tower cam. This is downtown at the Cornell Complex Arts and Entertainment Center, and it looks fantastic. At least roads are dry for now, but we'll start to get some showers in here as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. All right, temperature 73 Stockton, Anderson 74 in Miami. Pittsburgh is sitting at 73. We can go out 7th and Rangeline 73. Visibility is good. Southerly winds kind of breezy all day long for us today. Those south winds at about 10 to 15, but at times we've had gusts a little bit higher than that, kind of in that 20 to 30 mile per hour range. It's going to stay a little bit on the breezy side tonight, and then again as we go into our Thursday, but rain starting to increase, at least showers picking up southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Now where you see the yellows, that's where we're getting at least some persistent rain, which we definitely need across the region. So a few sprinkles, Miami to Grand Lake, picking up once you get over toward Veneta, southern parts of Lebec County, and then across Montgomery County, and this is lifting toward the north and to the east as we go through the rest of the evening hours. This band is going to be pushing through as we go into tonight. So we're dealing with this wave, shifts through tonight and tomorrow, but right behind it, even a stronger wave is getting ready, and that's going to start to affect us as we head into the weekend. So rain chances pretty high tonight, taper tomorrow afternoon, spike up a little bit again midday on Friday, and then back down as we go into Friday evening. Let me walk you through next 48 hours. Here's 3:30 in the morning, showers increasing across the region, just mainly light showers. We get one back band. Here's tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. These push east, and most of the rain is going to be out of here by the noon hour. Then mostly cloudy skies, mid to upper 70s for highs, very similar to what we had this afternoon. Tomorrow night, mainly dry. We only drop back mid 60s for lows, but watch the cold front. So here's 6 a.m. on Friday, plows south and east. We're going to have a few showers along it, but the temperatures are going to drop very rapidly behind this front as we get into the afternoon. So we'll slide back into the 50s by evening, eventually into the upper 40s as we head into Saturday morning. Plus the clouds are going to be sticking around, and showers will start to increase again as we go into the weekend. Rainfall tonight into tomorrow morning, not super heavy, 1/4 of an inch. There may be spots that get a 1/2 inch in spots. 66 in the morning, but a high temp, 76 during the afternoon, 74 on Friday. A few random showers with that front, only 58 on Saturday. Rain really increasing Saturday night into Sunday, a high temp of only 44 degrees. So in our second half hour, we're going to be talking more about our first freeze and those much colder temperatures working in.
All right, well,
it's that time
definitely
of year.
going to
It's
have
almost November.
cooler temperatures coming.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not summer anymore, Doug.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thanks. Well, coming up, the strike taking its toll.
There is a report that the UAW may be willing to settle for a little bit less in the auto strike. I'm Jeff Flock in suburban Philadelphia, and I'll be back with the details coming up.
There's no comment thus far from the United Auto Workers after a report the union is lowering its demand for wage increases. Fox Business correspondent Jeff Flock is at a Ford dealership in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, with more on this story.
There are more than 45,000 members of the United Auto Workers on strike and more than 7,000 laid off. And the strike is showing no signs of slowing down. But union officials are reportedly softening some of their demands. A rare concession to the big three automakers after almost 6 weeks on the picket lines. According to the Automotive News, the UAW is now asking for 25% raises for its members. That's down significantly from the original demand of 40%. The union isn't commenting to Fox Business yet, but just yesterday it blamed the automakers for the lack of progress on wages.
We told them from day one what our expectations are. They waited, 6 weeks into bargaining to get serious. We are where we are.
But the length of this strike is taking a toll on workers. And many say if the demands for higher wages aren't met, they'll consider finding a new line of work.
It's just like, is this the right place for me, and is it worth it putting all this work in and getting so much little in return?
Meanwhile, GM says it's lost $800 million so far, and they're not the only ones. About 40% of suppliers say they've had layoffs due to the work stoppage. But most UAW members say they're going to stay on strike until the big three starts paying up.
We've had 6% raise in 14 years. Time to pay up. You're making multi-billions of dollars in profit. Share it. Don't be greedy.
Auto dealerships have largely been spared the negative impacts of the strike, but dealers say if it goes on much longer, that won't last. At John Kennedy Ford in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, I'm Jeff Flock with the Fox Business Network.
The stated range of Tesla's electric vehicles may not be very accurate. The Justice Department is investigating the EPA's estimates of how far a Tesla model can go on a single charge. It comes after Consumer Reports found the Model Y only went 274 miles, as opposed to the EPA's stated range of 326 miles. Part of how the EPA calculates its range number comes from data provided by automakers. It means if it's wrong, it can cause legal problems for the automaker. Up next, we'll learn the adorable reason why police in Oklahoma pulled over a toddler. A toddler driving a pink convertible in central Oklahoma was pulled over by police on October 23rd. Footage shows the toddler in a mini car appearing to be brushing her teeth while simultaneously driving in front of a flashing Okarche police vehicle. She's just multitasking. Don't do it, folks. 2-year-old Rose Fern was exceeding the speed limit on Kansas Avenue in her pink convertible when Officer Manis noticed the mini lawbreaker and took immediate action. Police added they were sure her cuteness had something to do with it. Brushes their teeth while they drive. Come on now. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. We take a look at how chronic wasting disease is affecting the fall deer hunt in Missouri. Plus how Taylor Swift wearing a bracelet made by a Joplin business is boosting sales. Earlier, we talked about changes to Kansas hunting season this year. Anthony Saviello brings more on what changes have happened in Missouri this year.
With Missouri bow hunting season well underway, hunters are set to begin prepping for the fall firearms deer season. However, many counties in the four-state area will have to take caution with the deer they harvest.
One of the big changes for deer hunting this year in Jasper County is that Jasper County is included in this year's chronic wasting disease management zone.
According to Francis Skaliski, chronic wasting disease is a death sentence for deer. But deer won't show visible signs until months after infection.
The good thing about chronic wasting disease in Missouri is we have a low prevalence, so the chances of hunters having a positive sample are low.
Hunters who harvest a deer on firearms opening weekend will be required to present a deer at a testing facility. For many hunters in our area, it will be a first, but there is hope that it will also be the last.
Just depends whether we find positives in there after this sampling. If we do, yes, they will be there for next year. If we don't find any positives in Jasper County or in anywhere that 10-mile radius that would touch into Jasper County, then it might be more, then probably it wouldn't be next year. So, but it just depends on what we find this year.
Reporting in Jasper County, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Deer that are harvested in Vernon, Barton, and Jasper counties on November 11th and 12th will be subject to mandatory CWD testing. For more information, you can visit the mdc.mo.gov website. Fort Scott Chamber of Commerce today hosted a Community Connection Panelist Luncheon. Members of the community were invited to the event at the Empress Event Center to hear information from the City of Fort Scott, Bourbon County, Fort Scott Community College, USD 234 and 235, as well as Bourbon County Red. Each panelist gave a 7-minute update, ending with time for questions. One chamber member spoke about what they hope to accomplish with the event. Almost 24 sixth graders today got to participate in a unique art experience at Art Forms Gallery. 22 sixth graders from Jamie McMillan's art class at College Heights and Christian School in Joplin got that chance to cut and arrange glass pieces into holiday ornaments, which were fused in a glass kiln. Kristen Gerard, a jewelry artist, also escorted some of the students on a guided tour of public art displays in Pittsburgh.
I hope they learn a little bit about the science of glass, how to cut glass safely, and maybe in the future they might want to take a stained glass class as young adults. Or even pursue something in the fusing world.
Art Forms Gallery is located at 620 North Broadway in Pittsburgh. Joplin Business is seeing a sales surge in one of its bracelets after star Taylor Swift wore the item. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
We know some of you might be tired of hearing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's relationship. But this time, the 12-time Grammy Award winner is indirectly supporting a Joplin business. The bracelet she wore when she watched the Chiefs beat the Chargers at the Arrowhead Stadium was made in Joplin. Now, the retail store is entering its Taylor Swift era.
The business has just really taken off. We have sold way more singles than we ever could imagine.
More than 1,000% more in sales of that bracelet, to be more specific, according to the business owner. The personalized piece had Travis Kelce's jersey number, 87, on it. Owner Misha Wilson says that they're friends with Patrick Mahomes' mom, Randy, and that's how Taylor ended up with the Joplin-made bracelet.
She asked if we wanted to gift anything to Taylor. We just made it up, sent it to her, and made a little arm stack. She only had one on, so we're hoping maybe she'll wear another one.
As Kansas City Chiefs fans, Aramesh owners are living their wildest dreams and getting to know their Taylor version.
It's crazy. We just wake up and pinch ourselves every day.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
This isn't the first time that Swift has impacted the sales of a Chiefs item. The windbreaker that the pop star was sporting in her first appearance at a Chiefs game sold out approximately 30 minutes after it was released. A bit later, why scientists say a new study shows a chunk of Antarctica is doomed to melt.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another kind of gloomy one for us today. Some scattered showers during the morning hours, but mild, windy, and we are dry outside right now. Nice shot downtown Joplin on top of the Cornell Complex Arts and Entertainment Center. Looks pretty good, but we are going to start to get some rain pushing in here as we go through the overnight hours. All right, let's look outside. Kansas, Oklahoma, you can see showers increasing. Most of these are fairly light, but where you see the yellows, that's where we're at least getting some persistent rain across the region, which we need. So if we look, trying to push into Chanute, Fredonia, Independence, Parsons, a little bit into Cherokee County, Ottawa County, Miami, down toward Veneta, back toward Nowata and Bartlesville. All this is lifting northeast, so eventually we'll get into southwestern Missouri as we go through the overnight hours, but this band extends all the way back into central parts of Texas. As this wave pushes by, stronger wave, that's going to roll in as we head into the weekend. And that's really going to change up our weather. Let's jump into the weekend. Rain increases again, just scattered on Saturday, but really increases during the night. Look at this swath of snow up through parts of Nebraska. Rain continues Sunday, and look at our temps. We're going to be in 30s and 40s throughout the day. So this is a lot of cold air that is rolling in. Most of the rain gets out of here by the time we get into Monday morning, but look at these overnight lows. Our first hard freeze Monday afternoon, we stay into the 40s, which is chilly. Let's go into Halloween. We're going to be dry, but look at our highs. Upper 40s to near 50, so much, much colder temperatures working in as we get into early next week. Until then, we stay mild, but we have periods of showers, which are going to roll through tonight. The heaviest northeastern Oklahoma along the I-44 corridor. Let's stop at 8 a.m., a band of showers pushing through. Most of this is out of here by the time we get into the afternoon. So tomorrow afternoon, very similar to what we had today. A lot of clouds, a little bit of sun, mild, windy, highs into the mid to upper 70s. Just mostly cloudy skies for us tomorrow night. Not really anything's going on until our front dives in. So this is Friday morning. A few showers along the front, starts to plunge south as we go through the day. So we're going to be in the 70s, and then we drop into the 50s behind it. It turns much, much colder by Friday evening. All right, rainfall tonight into tomorrow morning. Not a lot, but a lot of areas, 1/4 to a 1/2 inch, which of course we need. So we'll start with rain, mostly cloudy skies, high temp is 76. Let's go into Friday evening. We got high school football. Bundle up. We're going to be upper 40s to near 50 degrees for high school football on Friday evening. 70s tomorrow, 74 on Friday. High of only 58 Saturday, only 44. Rain on Sunday. 47 Monday, Halloween, 51. But this is going to be a little slap of pre-winter for us early next week.
Yeah, gonna be a big change from this week, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
I know. I'm done with the AC. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
We don't need to use it anymore this year.
There you go.
All right, and I'm not really ready for the heater yet, though. All right, thanks, Doug. Hurricane Otis slams into Mexico's southern Pacific coast as a catastrophic Category 5 hurricane early today. Fox's Eben Brown has more.
Another dangerous hurricane slams into Mexico's Pacific coast. Hurricane Otis strikes the southern Pacific state of Guerrero as a powerful Category 5 storm early Wednesday, making landfall just 25 miles northwest of Acapulco, a city of 1 million people and a popular destination for American tourists. Ahead of the storm, residents were battening down the hatches as local officials warned those who could leave should get out of town as soon as possible.
We are inviting the population to leave because the hurricane can cause a strong surge and heavy rains.
After making landfall, Otis was downgraded to a Category 4 hurricane, and it is expected to continue weakening as it heads further inland. But the massive amount of rain is prompting fears of flash flooding. It's expected to be 15 inches in some areas, meaning beaches and other areas popular with tourists will remain off limits for now.
The waves rise all the way up to here, and then nobody else can come at this hour or later because there aren't even lifeguards at this time.
The storm came just 3 days after Hurricane Norma hit southern Baja, bringing high winds and heavy rain to resort cities like Cabo San Lucas. Residents there are now cleaning up and assessing the damage.
The problem with the weather here is when the rainy season comes, it is the spillage of sand onto streets. All that sand is pushed by the water.
Meanwhile, over in the Atlantic, Hurricane Tammy is still moving northeast towards Bermuda. It is expected to become a powerful cyclone by Thursday. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Well, coming up in sports, Kansas high school football playoffs begin tomorrow night. Plus, Colgan volleyball preps for its 4th consecutive trip to the state tournament. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Colgan High School volleyball won its sub-state tournament to advance on to state. It did that last year, the year before, and the year before that. And the Panthers have done it again in 2023 after winning all but one set on Saturday. The Lady Panthers are the 6th seed in the 2A state tournament. They're on the practice court again this afternoon, prepping for the weekend, focusing specifically on defense, hitting and double blocking, among other things today. And even for seniors heading to state a 4th year in a row, this group is playing with a different level of confidence.
This year, we've really cohesively played throughout the season. We've really gelled together, and instead of kind of focusing on 1 or 2 hitters, we're really good at mixing it up, and everyone, I know if the ball goes to anyone, we're going to get a kill, and it's going to go good.
We're playing with a lot of confidence right now. We trust each other really well, which makes it a lot of fun. We know anytime the ball goes over, we're going to get a pass. Our setter's going to be there, and no matter where the hit goes, we'll get it down, so that's fun.
The Panthers are just one of 3 of our local Southeast Kansas schools that will be heading to the volleyball state tournaments. They're headed to Dodge City for the 2A tournament in Class 3A. That's over in Hutchinson. Neodesha enters as the 2 seed. Riverton is the 7. The Rams making their 4th consecutive trip to state as well. And pool play starts on Friday at both sites. Well, it's the first week of high school playoff football in SEK as well. Things get started with several teams playing postseason games tomorrow night. That's Thursday. Riverton opens as the 2A playoffs as the 1 seed. The Rams at home at 6 tomorrow against West Franklin. Caney Valley also at home against Council Grove. Humboldt plays Cherryvale at home. Cubs coming off a 7-1 regular season. Elsewhere in 1A, Colgan is a 1 seed, undefeated regular season for the Raiders. They begin the playoffs against Pleasanton tomorrow at home. KOAM sports team will be out at several of these games. Then again across the area on Friday night. You can catch all the highlights from round 1 of the playoffs on our 30-minute Friday Night Football show Press Box. That airs on Friday night at 11 on Fox 14. Over in the NFL, the Chiefs are on the road at Denver this weekend. A couple weeks ago, Kansas City took down its AFC West rivals for the 16th consecutive time, but the Chiefs are still preparing to get their best shot.
Even though it just happened a couple weeks ago, we know the battle that we had with them, and they're a good football team. They're coming off a big win against Green Bay, and where they played well, and we've got to make sure that we get our work done these next few days here before we head up there.
That's all for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Climate scientists and advocates continue their calls for reductions in fossil fuel use and production. But as efforts to decrease greenhouse gas emissions press on, a new study says it's too late to prevent a large chunk of Antarctic ice from being wiped out in the future. Ted Linder takes a closer look.
A new study is spelling doom for a large portion of Antarctica and revealing potentially dangerous consequences for people living in coastal communities around the world.
It's pretty bad news all around.
According to research published in the journal Nature Climate Change, even if global carbon emissions are reduced, it won't be enough to stop a massive section of Antarctic ice from completely melting. Using computer simulations, scientists found there is little to no hope for the West Antarctic ice sheet, citing how rising ocean temperatures will continue chipping away at it even if carbon emissions decline. While researchers say it'll take hundreds of years for the ice to fully melt, it'll likely cause global sea levels to rise by roughly 6 feet. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, 10 feet of sea level rise is likely enough to put parts of Miami and South Florida underwater.
It's unavoidable that the problem gets worse.
Nations that signed the Paris Climate Agreement aim to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Still, the Earth has already warmed by 1.2 degrees Celsius. And this comes as data from NOAA found the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is now 50% higher than it was before the industrial era.
I definitely don't want people to read this study and say, oh, there isn't any hope, we should just give up. Because the West Antarctic, it's not the whole world. There's still so many other impacts of climate change that we probably still can avoid, even if this isn't one of them.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Well, coming up, the Hunger Games is being adapted for the stage. We'll have the details. The Hunger Games enters new territory. Halle Berry goes up against a self-help guru and more. Fox's Anna Yiolopoulos has the latest in Hollywood Nation.
My family. A-list stars face doomsday, Barry lands a new role, and The Hunger Games comes to life in the Hollywood Nation.
I volunteer as tribute.
The Hunger Games is being turned into a play. The stage adaptation is based on Susan Collins' first book and the 2012 blockbuster film starring Jennifer Lawrence. It will debut on London's West End, fall of 2024. Halle Berry has lined up a new project. According to Deadline, the Oscar winner will co-produce and star in The Process, a psychological thriller about a married couple's relationship being put to the test when they participate in a weekend seminar hosted by a manipulative self-help guru.
It's gonna be the best Christmas ever.
Netflix gets viewers into the festive season in today's First Looks. The streamer released the first trailer for Best Christmas Ever, starring Brandy Norwood and Heather Graham. It follows a woman who tries to prove her old college friend's life is not as wonderful as it seems when they unexpectedly reunite days before Christmas. The holiday film premieres November 16th.
We are seeing ongoing cyber attacks across the country.
The streamer also dropped a new trailer for the star-studded apocalyptic thriller Leave the World Behind. Starring Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and Mahershala Ali, the story follows two families forced to shelter together when a massive cyber attack occurs and the world starts collapsing around them. It will be available on Netflix December 8th.
Get in the car right now!
Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
Well, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with video of puppies in Montana experiencing snow for the first time. Oh, how sweet it is. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.